Hello and welcome to our WCBN's coverage of Michigan Water Polo. They have 2 games to close out the regular season before the CWPA Conference Championships. I'm Daniel Thompson, joined alongside by Lucas Vargas. We are, any minute now, players are in the pool lineup for the sprint, Lucas. We saw this team 2 months ago in the Wolverine invite. That was an out-of-conference tournament. They played a bunch of schools from California. This is a bit more East Coast, as that was the opening whistle. We've got the sprint to start it off. It looks like Julia Sellers is going to be the Wolverine sprinter, and she wins the opening sprint, so Wolverines will start with possession as they get things going. Lucas, what are your expectations for today? 10th-ranked Wolverines playing the 16th-ranked Hartwick later in the day, and then presently winless in the CWPA Conference, St. Francis right now.
I mean, I think you just want to see Michigan come out and take care of business. Should be able to score a fair amount of goals this morning and then get themselves just a couple more wins before they head to tournament play.
For sure. They started off the day with Maddie Steer having an open look. It was a good passing possession, ends up getting stuffed by the St. Francis keeper. But they are going to want to come out early. St. Francis, as we mentioned, yet to win a game in CWPA play. The Wolverines are standing on top of the CWPA standings as St. Francis uses the entirety of their shot clock, has to turn it over. A wasted possession on their part. So the Wolverines definitely have high expectations today as they pass the ball. Oh, and that's going to be the first goal. It looks like Michigan's Kathy Rogers is going to put one just along the side crossbar, similar to Maddie Steer's first shot of the day. That one is able to get by the keeper near side. So, yeah, as I was going into Wolverines, currently on top of the conference standings, tied at 10 points with the Indiana Hoosiers. Hoosiers have played 2 more games than the Wolverines, and they lost the head-to-head matchup 9-7 in Bloomington earlier this year.
Yeah, so Michigan's in a really nice position. They did score their first goal of the game. Good shot, and just what you'd expect to see early and often.
And some defense turning into offense here. Caroline Anderson stuffs a shot on the defensive end and quickly turns it around to a deep pass to teammate Julia Sellers. She converts that one for a goal. Wolverines up 2-0 early. That's what they want to see here from the bottom as they play the team in the bottom of the CWPA conference. Wolverines lead 2-0 early.
Yeah, 2 goals within the first minute and a half of play. Just a great start for Michigan. And if they are able to really take care of business early, then they can play some subs for the rest of the game and rest their starters up for what should be a much more challenging game tonight against Hartwick.
For sure, that's going to be a top 20 matchup. Hartwick ranked 16th presently, as the Wolverines are ranked 10th. They've been in that top 10 all season, alternating from 8 to 9 to 10, not really promoting themselves up much more. But the good sign about that is they would likely be one of the teams to be an alternate to make the tournament should they not win the conference. Meanwhile, more defense turning into offense as the Wolverines get another fast break, really just taking advantage of the fact that they have fast swimmers, as another empty St. Francis possession results in a deep lob from the starting goalkeeper, Heidi Rittner, lobs it up to Caroline Anderson. She sails that over the crossbar. So it's going to go back to St. Francis ball, but these Michigan possessions have been about maybe 10 seconds apiece.
And they're getting good looks, though. It's great to see Heidi Rittner back in the net as well. We did not get to see her in the Michigan Invitational that we did earlier, but she has started 31 of the team's 35 games, and she has recorded her second straight 25-win season. If she can just get a few more wins, she could set the single-season record of 29.
An impressive season for her, to be sure. And, yeah, she's only played games up until now that WCBN has not covered. So we haven't been able to cover too many Heidi Rittner saves. We look forward to doing a bunch today.
I'm not really sure what the holdup is for right now.
No, there's been a stoppage in play. Officials sorting things out. It's going to be St. Francis possession in the Michigan half of the pool as St. Francis works it back toward the point. Get one inside, but that's not going to be good enough. That's threw that one into double coverage just to try to get it up toward the center. Michigan will recover as Caroline Anderson now brings the pool brings the ball down the pool, gets into the 6-meter zone, double teamed. She might lose possession here, and she is going to. Got a bit overzealous there. Could have pulled up about maybe a yard earlier and taken a shot. Instead, tried to get as close as possible, paid the price.
Yeah, tried to go in solo and quickly double teamed. For a player of her caliber, either a shot or a pass would have probably been the smart choice.
And not to suggest that strategy hasn't been successful so far for the Wolverines, but they've typically been able to get ahead of the whole defense. But the Wolverines know that they're better swimmers right now. They're taking advantage of it. As right there, Julia Sellers pins a St. Francis player into the corner, strips the ball from her. Really a dominant defensive display so far. Finds a teammate along the wing, gets it right back to her. Great 1-2 combination. And oh, that is so close. Julia Sellers just sails that. The ball fell straight down once it hit the crossbar, but did not roll into the cage.
It's a great give and go play, and now it looks like St. Francis is going to call a timeout. The coach unhappy with the amount of early shot attempts that have been allowed.
And absolutely, I mean, the Wolverines are only up 2-0, which is a great lead to be up this early into the game, but it could be so much worse. Wolverines have really put on a clinic so far today.
So St. Francis Red Flash coach Jay O'Neill will talk things over, try and get his team calmed down for a minute. But the Wolverines have been very aggressive on the defensive side and turning that defense into great looks on offense. No possession that's really gone, other than the Caroline Anderson double team, that's really gone without a good look.
It certainly has been. Wolverines lead 2-0 and only 3 minutes and 6 seconds into this early into this game. St. Francis is going to have to change things up. I think they're winning time of possession right now, which is showing to be pretty meaningless right now because the Wolverines are getting good looks 10 seconds into the shot clock every time. They're going to have to slow down the Wolverines. I mean, they haven't come close to burning up the shot clock. It's not been on their minds at all. It's been, what's the best shot I can take?
And it's a very rainy day. Rainy weekend here in Ann Arbor. A lot of events already canceled. Softball moved to a doubleheader yesterday. Spring game for football canceled. You probably expect the baseball game to be canceled as well. Luckily, water polo and indoor sports. So
for sure, probably the only sport we're going to be able to really have here in Ann Arbor today. So why not come down for our 7 p.m. game? You might have had plans for the spring game. No worries. We still have water polo. And as you walk into the stadium, by the time you get in, you're going to feel like you're in the pool with the players because you will be quite wet. Yeah,
you'll be drenched already.
For sure. I certainly felt like I'd taken a dip in the pool once I first got here.
Yeah, it's nicely done by Michigan not to have the buses going on the weekend, so it was a nice 1.5-ish walk for me through the rain.
Yeah, thankfully Southpot's a bit closer, but the St. Francis, once again, the turnovers, that's been a real issue. Heidi Rittner, I know she's played 31 games this year, but I haven't gotten to see her in action too much. I'd like to see some more saves on her part. Hasn't really been able to do that a whole lot because her defense is just taking the ball away every single time a St. Francis player gets within half a yard of them.
That's a dream for a goalie, is to not have to face shots. It's just at the Frozen Four last week, and the Minnesota Duluth goalie, as good as he was, didn't face too many shots.
Indeed. There, Maddie Johnston gets her first goal of the game. Really a clinical possession right there as well. St. Francis looked a bit better. They actually were driving Michigan back a bit early in that possession. Michigan still ends up getting a shot, and a great one.
Yeah, driving Michigan back, though, opens up the rest of the defense, and Michigan able to get the necessary pass for a good shot and extend their lead to 3-0.
Certainly a great start, 3-0 for the Wolverines as we just crossed the halfway mark. Going to be a defensive foul against the Wolverines. All players will stay in the pool, however. Gives St. Francis a bit of separation. As they work one in there, the triple team coverage, they play it back now. 14 to go on the shot clock. Somewhat errant pass will still be recovered by St. Francis. But they're moving backwards. And oh, what a great tip right there. Laura Jimenez able to get a hand on it. And now she is going to take the ball, drive it into the 2-meter zone. She's going to be able to shoot, just her and the keeper to beat. Plays that one short side and gets stuffed. Probably could have gone long-sided there, tried to flip it to a teammate and catch the keeper off guard. Still a brilliant defensive effort and then quick sprint. I think that's what head coach Marcelo Leonardi has instructed his Wolverines to do. Just know that they're faster and sprint down the pool as quick as they can. St. Francis tries to work it inside, try to get by Kim Johnson, the Wolverines. Instead, she steals it. Now she has open water in front of her. Going to park at the 2-meter line and fire a shot off. She's pretty toward the center. She has both ways to go. Easily puts that to the side netting. Wolverines lead 4-0 with 3 to play in the first quarter. Lucas, what can the Red Storm do here to try to turn the tide of this game?
Oh, the Red Flash can
my bad.
Just at least get some shots on goal. They just haven't had any success, and turnovers are leading to breakaways for Michigan. If they can at least get a shot on goal, they have an opportunity to get back and set up a defense. But they're allowing just too many Michigan swimmers to go one-on-one with their goalie right now, and that is just not a recipe for success in any sport.
No, one-on-one opportunities was the Wolverines' downfall, as you mentioned, in the Frozen Four, that you were at just one last-second one-on-one goal. But meanwhile, we'll see if St. Francis can stop the bleeding here. Michigan comes up with another quick defensive save. And, Maddie Johnston gets wide open in the center, lobs one over the keeper. 5-0. It's just been a floodgate of Wolverine goals opening since the beginning of the game.
It's a great cut by Brittany Prentice. Really, really good cut. And she's able to get a goal right in front of the net. Michigan up 5-0 in the first period.
For sure, it's been really no more. You couldn't really wish for a better start if you're head coach Marcelo Leonardi. 5-0 this early, 2.5 minutes still to go. You'd think it'll be at least 6-0 going into the quarter. And that's on pace for a 24-0 or so victory. I mean, Hartwick is watching right now. You can be sure of that. And they might be a bit intimidated here. Can't find their team in the stands right now. We got about maybe 30 Michigan fans in attendance. St. Francis not showing them much on offense, just kind of passing the ball up and down the wing. But we have our first exclusionary penalty of the game.
Let's see if St. Francis can capitalize with a shot on goal.
This is what St. Francis needs. They've been struggling so much at full strength. They've got 10 more seconds of a 6-on-5 advantage. Aaron Passo leaves the ball in the corner, 4 to shoot before the penalty expires. 3, hands in everyone's face. Full strength again. The Wolverine player comes back into the pool. St. Francis gets their closest shot of the night up in the – they launch one into the crossbar. Not much damage done there. 90 seconds to go in the quarter. Wolverines still lead 5-0.
And we finally get to see Heidi Rittner make a save. One of those fans in the stands is athletic director Warden Manuel.
Oh, great catch, Lucas. Yeah, he is here. As we get a long crossing pass to Laura Jimenez, ricochets one off the crossbar. I mean, these Wolverine possessions are so quick. There's really not much time to talk in between because they were just outswimming St. Francis. Have they ever shot with less than 10 on the shot clock? I don't think so.
Well, have they ever needed to? And I don't think so either.
Really, it's been a clinical performance. I've said that quite a few times today. 50 seconds remaining. Wolverines will have at least one more possession, maybe 2 with how quickly they score. St. Francis, not a good look, marching backward. Wolverines in their faces all day. They've been getting 0 separation.
Just flip it into the corner to avoid the shot clock turnover.
And that's very smart play right there. Makes the Wolverines burn more time. Prevents them from realistically getting 2 possessions. Wolverines doing some excellent long, dry passes over the heads of all the St. Francis defenders. Play went into the wing, as I believe that's Sophie Pontre. Her pass intercepted. One of the first offensive miscues of the day by the Wolverines. 16 seconds to play. St. Francis passes it back to their keeper as the Red Flash are setting up one last possession. 6 seconds to go. 5. And I don't think they're going to try to score. Head coach waves them off. The quarter will end with the ball in the keeper's hands. A 5-0 commanding lead for the Wolverines. 2 minutes till the second quarter. Lucas, what are your takeaways from this one?
Well, Michigan, like I said, you just want to see them come out and take care of business against a team they really should be able to handle, and they did just that, showing that they were the dominant swimmers without a doubt, winning every loose ball and establishing themselves on several breakaway opportunities, setting up some easy goals, 5-0 lead, taking care of business right now. Really, really great to see, especially for the end of the year right before tournament play.
For sure. The CWPA conference tournament begins on April 27th. That's a Friday. That's in Lewisburg, PA, in case anyone plans on making the trip out there. I see that in addition with Ward Manuel, we have maybe the second most important man to Michigan athletics. The Michigan Trooper has showed up, pom-pom in hand. And
I do see one of the Michigan swimmers as well, Jake Montag.
Lucas, you're the student manager for that sport, so yeah, you're quite familiar with the athletes on that team. They were Big Ten champions. The
women were Big Ten champions. The men did good too as well. They had a good season.
Yeah, so Lucas Bidvin, I guess he's very familiar with Canham Natatorium.
Yeah, spent a little bit of time here.
As one of the many hardworking Wolverine student managers, we are about to get underway here for the second quarter, and kind of hard to analyze this game without sounding like a broken record. It's really just been Wolverines are too fast, too quick, and just not only have they just been so flashy on offense, but they've just been a blanket over St. Francis on defense.
Yeah, I mean, just a clear mismatch in domination. Michigan showing the talent gap that they possess over their opponent right now. But it looks like they're still being coached up. You don't want to take matchups like this for granted. You still need to coach hard, play hard, and show what you are capable of.
For sure, head coach Dr. Marcelo Leonardi, he's never done coaching. That's why he's taken the team to the NCAA tournament in two of his 3 years. Last game they played actually last week against Princeton, Wolverines lost in overtime. That is only Marcelo Leonardi's second loss in conference over the past 3 seasons, and that's an overtime loss. Heartbreaker, puts the Wolverines in a bit of trouble seeding-wise, although you'd imagine they're likely going to be the 1 or 2 seed either way into the tournament. They'd have to likely play Princeton in the championship game either way. That will be a great one in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. I don't think WCBN is going to be able to cover that one, but we'll let you know how that goes. I'll be covering. That'll be well after finals. I'll have all my time to invest in that. That will be, I'm sure, a fantastic game.
School is winding down here in Ann Arbor. Classes ending on Tuesday, and then finals will wrap up by the week after that.
For sure. It's certainly got to be a busy time for these Wolverine water polo players.
Yeah, not like the basketball players where they can sit down for their finals, but water polo, they're still at it.
For sure, much like most spring athletes, water polo really getting to the crunch of their season. It looks like it will still be Julia Sellers who takes the sprint for the Wolverines. She's going to win that one handily. Michigan 2-0 on the sprint. That's, of course, one of the more important statistics. Because, I mean, if you can win all 4, you get 4 extra possessions. It's an 8-point swing as opposed to losing all 4. Offensive foul early by the Wolverines on Caroline Anderson will be St. Francis ball, so kind of eradicating that advantage from winning the opening sprint.
And a lot of pressure by Caroline Anderson near mid-pool. It's again just lazy passing by St. Francis, unable to get anything going towards the net.
Certainly has been St. Francis. Uninspired pass there, tipped by Anderson, and then eventually corralled by her as she looks to flip pool, isn't swimming, has her head well above the water, looking for a teammate to pass to, pumps twice and decides she's going to swim now. I don't think the St. Francis defender knows that yet. Doesn't matter if she passes it up to her teammate, Kim Johnson, who bounces it off the crossbar. Not a too threatening look there, even though it was inside the 2-meter line. Going to be St. Francis ball. They pass it wide, maybe about 12 yards away from the cage as it is right now. Caroline Anderson, she has been a defensive stalwart so far today. Really bodies up against the St. Francis player. She's really made life difficult for the Red Splash so far today. Another pass deflected that was almost corralled by St. Francis' center. That would have been a golden opportunity for them to get on the scoreboard here today. Ends up not being a bit too far out of her reach. Kim Johnson passes up to Julia Sellers. She's got a defender in her face. Doesn't matter. Laws went over the keeper. Another Wolverine goal.
Wow, what a pass from end to end by Heidi Rittner. And then even after that, the pass feed inside. Just great passing by Michigan. Really a contrast of ability and as far as passing goes.
Yeah, that was really a great lob by her. Nearly the entire length of the pool. looking a bit like maybe she should try out for Michigan quarterback or imitating Isaiah Livers, who does the inbound passes for any big late game lob. Did that against Maryland and, of course, the Houston game. Both of those worked out. Meanwhile, Julia Sellers with another strip gets the ball to Kim Johnson, who's now gotten along the wing, cuts into the 2-meter zone. Defender on her back. That's a bit too difficult right there. Was triple teamed basically by 2 defenders and a goalie. But I like the idea here. I mean, if the Wolverines are playing this fast against all their opponents, which they won't be able to do, but if they can play close to this fast, they are going to catch teams off guard.
So basically a wrestling match going on in the middle between number 3 on Michigan, Maddie Steer, and number 14 on St. Francis, Missy McCreary. And Steer able to draw the foul and head the other way.
Indeed, offensive foul results in Caroline Anderson into the 2-meter zone. Pump fakes. Defender right to her back. Just shimmies on down to about maybe half a yard away from the cage. Easily fires one in there. That's just a defensive lapse. Can't blame the keeper at all. Maybe she could have been a bit more aggressive attacking Anderson. But when a player is able to get that close to the cage, it's going to be a goal 90% of the time.
The score now 7-0. Some subs will head into the pool. And, you know, Caroline Anderson, just a phenomenal career for Michigan. First player in school history with 400 career points. She has now extended her record of over 444 that she came into with today. Just a phenomenal player for Michigan water polo history.
Great insight right there, Lucas. Certainly, yeah, building to her already tremendous Michigan water polo legacy. One of a few seniors who will be playing their last 2 games in Canham Natatorium here tonight. That Hartwick game at 7, that's going to be senior night. Make sure to tune in for that one. As right now, I'm not sure if there are any seniors in the pool. Getting a lot of younger experience in right now as another St. Francis possession comes up empty.
Well, this is a great opportunity for the younger girls to play. Obviously, a very comfortable lead right now, and St. Francis showing no signs of being able to crack into that. Get the young girls in and get them some experience right now.
So Heidi Rittner gets the ball up to Maddie O'Reilly, a freshman who we saw a bit of in the Wolverine invite in February. Ball's now passed along to Laura Jimenez. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Wolverines finally using that whole thing. And I don't think that will win in. There's no instant replay in water polo, so that's not going to be – they're not going to take another look. Not that I think anyone's going to lose sleep over that, but an impressive long shot by Delaney Cleveland. No doubt in my mind that shot was twice as long as any other Wolverine shot of the day. Is able to ricochet it off the keeper's hand and along the side post. Good move there by St. Francis. Forces a defensive foul. An exclusionary penalty against Maddie O'Reilly. As it looked like Marliena Stelipopoulou, I'm going to butcher that. It's a very Greek name. She's from Greece. Able to kind of make a move around Maddie O'Reilly and draw a foul. 7 seconds for St. Francis, who's had all 2 exclusionary fouls of the day. At the top, though, Annie Agakarnian from California. Her shot is no good. Someone got a hand in there. There's really a sea of Wolverine hands. You don't want to take those kind of shots on exclusionary plays, but no other option with how little time was left on the clock. Someone tipped that, made it an easy rate save for Heidi Rittner. Christina Obeck, another senior, with the ball right now, plays it back to the freshman, Maddie O'Reilly. 8 seconds. These Wolverine subs are using the full shot clock. What a great turnaround shot. Brittany Prentice gets the ball right in front of the cage, turns around, fires one in. I believe that's her second goal of the day, I
believe so, and a great pass inside by Maddie O'Reilly, another freshman, to get it inside. The young girls working well in their time in the water.
Indeed, and that shot was not unlike a fadeaway you might see in basketball, kind of quickly spinning around, creating separation.
Like a hook shot almost, like a nice little turnaround.
Really was probably the most impressive goal of the day. A lot of athletic movement right there. Center in water polo might be the hardest position to play in sports. You're wrestling people all the time. I don't know how she found the energy to elevate out of the water in that one. Really impressive look right there as St. Francis calls timeout, sets up some substitutes. And one thing I just thought about during that last exclusionary penalty for the Wolverines is that they're the only team to get one yet. Only 2 so far in the game. Maybe St. Francis needs to be a bit more aggressive defensively. They really could benefit from changing anything up right now.
Yeah, not much pressure being applied on the defensive end either by St. Francis. More just sitting back in his zone, and Michigan able to carve it up through passing and cutting very effectively.
As right now, St. Francis is Krista Ponek. That's not a great pass backward into Michigan, into her own side of the pool. Her teammate Amber Rogers able to get around the defense. But 2 seconds left. They're going to have to fire a 20-yard shot. It was on net. One of the few to be on net so far today. Heidi Rittner gets the save as she passes halfway across the pool to teammate Delaney Cleveland.
It's one of the easiest saves Heidi Rittner has probably ever made.
Oh, for sure. A slow pass right into her chest.
A nice little softball.
Absolutely. Delaney Cleveland gets the ball. Comes into the 8-meter zone. Across the pool to Rachel Sodikoff. Sodikoff back to Cleveland. At the top of the pool. Finds, oh, what a shot again by Brittany Prentice. She might be our rising star of the day. The freshman from Hillsborough, California. I mean, she's just been unstoppable there as one of the front three attackers.
Just really doing a great job at establishing position in front of the net. And as soon as she gets that feed, she knows exactly what to do with it.
She's not listed as center, but Christina Obeck, the senior, typically is a center, has been playing more of a wing position. And Brittany Prentice, whose name we did not call too much in the Wolverine invite, she's certainly earned more recognition throughout the season. 3 goals today, those last 2 both being fantastic, finding a way to have that ball kind of still going up and hitting the upper part of the net. Her teammates know they can just kind of bump it into her down low as she creates space and gets a shot off.
And St. Francis not taking away the interior passing lane, which allows them to make that outside-inside connection.
Really been a dominant game so far by the Wolverines. St. Francis getting no good looks. Maddie O'Reilly corrals and kind of pumping away pass by St. Francis. O'Reilly now with it about 9 meters from the cage. Cleveland gets it in to Laura Jimenez. She puts one past the keeper. 10-0 Wolverines, a minute 18 to go.
It is just too easy right now for Michigan getting any look they want. 10 goals in 1 half is just incredible. I mean, you look at some of the scores from Michigan's schedule, and a lot of their wins don't even have them up to 10.
No, I mean, 10 is what you want to have by the 4th quarter. Any coach would just be ecstatic to have 10 before halftime. We've got 78 ticks to go.
Right now, they could challenge their highest scoring game of the year was against George Washington, where they won 20-9. They could challenge that if they keep the pace up, but certainly you got to love the shutout going for the first half.
Oh, for sure. And as great as Heidi Rittner has been for this team, a really impressive sophomore who is well on her way to breaking program records for career totals. It's really been more thanks to the defense. They've been making sure almost no competitive shots get to her. Really, you cannot ask for a better just wall to be built around your keeper. As Delaney Cleveland, with 50 seconds left, finds teammate Maddie O'Reilly. O'Reilly pump fakes and slithers in a bit toward the cage, passes it wide, mishandled by Rachel Sodikoff. 12 to go. They get it back toward Emily Rittner, younger sister of Heidi. Cleveland back toward O'Reilly. O'Reilly launches one.
What a banger. Wow. That was some heat on that shot.
Yeah, that one went into the cage and then out, ricocheted out so quickly, I had to hesitate and look for the referee to make sure that was a goal.
What a shot.
I mean, that had some heat on it. I mean,
wow.
You really have to feel bad for Kate Wilkie, the St. Francis keeper right there. I mean, that was coming at her like it was shot out of a cannon.
It's like the dinosaurs when they saw the meteor coming. Jeez.
An apt comparison. 15 ticks to go. St. Francis going to try to get a shot off. Laura Jimenez at the point has not let off at all. You can hear players chanting 7, 6. And Maddie O'Reilly deflects the last shot of the half. 2 ticks to go. That's going to do it here for the first half. Could not be any more happy for head coach Marcelo Leonardi. Hartwick has to be scared. I know their players have to be here somewhere. They're not in the stands watching as they were during the Wolverine invite. Things are a bit less crowded here. Games aren't going to be quite as back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, at 11-0 right now, they get halftime, 5 minutes to talk about it, but can't really say enough about the effort that Michigan has played with so far. And, I mean, St. Francis would probably just like to see this game kind of wind down to a conclusion.
Yeah, realistically, St. Francis knows they're not going to get it back into this one. They've got to look to try to score some more goals. I think at this point,
they got to look to get some more shots.
Yeah, that's the first part of scoring goals. You got to shoot.
Just no shot opportunities being created.
Think from their perspective, they need to just think, they're being cautious right now. It hasn't paid off. They need to get more aggressive, take more risks. You know what? If they cause a turnover, so what? They're committing a turnover every other possession right now, and they're down 11-0 anyway. I think St. Francis just needs to say to heck with it. As Cameron Cordial right now is warming up in the cage, I would not be surprised if we saw the other sophomore keeper get some time here later in this game.
Yeah, I'd expect to see most of the subs play the second half. I mean, when you're up 11-0, not only do you have room for error, but you have room for opportunity to let these girls get some action, see what they can do for the future. And, say an injury does come up and you need these girls for the tournament, then you can call on them right away.
Certainly, it's going to be a great development game for the Wolverines.
You can't simulate game speed at practice, so.
No, for sure. So that will do it for us in the first half. We got about 3 minutes till the second half begins. We'll rejoin you then as we get things underway. And welcome back to our second half coverage of Michigan Water Polo. I'm Daniel Thompson, still joined by Lucas Vargas. In case you missed the first half, Wolverines are up 11-0. Lucas, want to tell any maybe new listeners getting up maybe at 10 a.m. on Saturday how that first half went?
Well, Michigan just faster to every ball, created a lot of pressure, especially around mid-pool. Got a lot of one-on-one opportunities, and then even when they just had to set up an offense, able to get it inside, get a good look. Almost every possession, not many empty possessions for Michigan, and they have an 11-0 lead as a result.
Really been one of the more dominant halves of water polo I've seen in my life. Can't recall the last time I've seen a half-long shutout. And we have a switch up in swimmers right now. Kathy Rogers, who is the freshman out of New Forest, England. A lot of talented freshmen on this team.
Kathy Rogers, really fast swimmer, really good for the sprint.
We saw her and Julia Sellers split can't talk right now. Split sprints in the first tournament we covered here. As Kim Johnson gets the ball down low. Michigan 0 for 3 on the 3 sprints they've won so far with the ensuing possessions. Kim Johnson with a good look, can't quite get it past the defender in the keeper. Caroline Anderson that will not give up. Don't tell her the score is 11-0. It doesn't change anything.
She's trying to add on to her career record of points so far. Came in with 444 total points. Definitely expanded on that today already.
And as I was just saying, so Kathy Rogers comes in, does the sprint for the second half. She's a freshman. The starting sprinter is Julia Sellers, a junior. And I mean, just looking at this game right now, seeing the young freshmen coming in, it's really looking great for this up-and-coming Michigan water polo program.
Yeah, bright future.
Really has brought them forward. And I don't know what to say there. It's not going to get much easier than that. That goal occurred about 5 seconds into the shot clock. Empty St. Francis possession results in a very deep pass by new keeper Cameron Cordial coming in relief for Heidi Rittner in the second half. Heidi Rittner progressed her pitch to shutout. One of the easier shutouts of all time. Maybe made 3 saves in that first half.
And I mean, they just cannot stop anything that Michigan wants to do. They're not even challenging. It's almost too easy for Michigan right now.
Absolutely. And Cameron Cordial also doing her best quarterback impression. Lobs that one deep. Many athletes here in attendance right now. Shea Patterson, I don't think is one of them, but he could take some notes here. Oh, and that was the best shot of the day from St. Francis. That was an impressive one, maybe 15 yards out. Lobs one high, upper 90, right-hand corner. Cameron Cordial had to extend to save that one. That was the hardest the keeper has worked so far today for the Wolverines.
Well, good save by Cordial. Flashing off some of her talent as well.
Anderson finds Obek, the senior. Hand in her face. That's going to be a difficult shot right there. Going to be St. Francis ball right now. But yeah, Cameron Cordial showed off a great deep pass. Gets to Caroline Anderson, who immediately dumps it into a wide-open Kim Johnson. She could have fully extended her fist. No one would have been near her. Easy shot. Timeout called. St. Francis going to draw a play up here. 5:50 to go in the first half. 12-0 Wolverines.
Oh, it doesn't look like they're going to come to the side of the pool, though.
And an exclusionary penalty was called. So St. Francis, their head coach, taking a short timeout by head coach Jay O'Neill. It's going to be an exclusionary foul. Kim Johnson coming off. St. Francis has had all 3 exclusionary fouls of this game. They've got 10 seconds left. Haven't done much with any of them. Continue to just pass the ball around, not having an open channel to throw the ball down anywhere. Pass across the wing, errant pass. That's going to burn the rest of the one-woman advantage.
Yeah, and the exclusionary fouls that Michigan has committed just a result of their aggressive pressure defense. But
Cordial lobs it all the way into the 8-meter zone. Anderson gets it, only the keeper to beat. Pump fakes, jumps out of the water, lobs one, deflected by the keeper. What a save there by Kate Wilkie.
Great save by Wilkie, and Anderson maybe just took too much time.
I think she did. She had kind of the advantage, kind of took some time, but defenders creep in toward her. But that was just as well as he possibly could play defense in transition right there. Julia Sellers popped out of the water and got the ball like maybe a Michigan cornerback. Meanwhile, Cordial, same play basically. Julia Sellers with it. She skips it under the keeper's arm. Wolverine goal, 13-0. St. Francis has to fix that. Past two possessions, they committed turnover. Wolverines must have talked this over at halftime. Instantly back to Cordial. Cordial lobs it over the heads of the whole defense. At this rate, you might have to think about Kate Wilkie, the St. Francis keeper, playing out up at the 8-meter zone after turnovers, because right now it's too easy for the Wolverines to drop the ball ahead of everyone else and let their players swim up to it. St. Francis has to get their fastest swimmer into the pool and play some defense here.
And still the inability of St. Francis to really generate quality shots, not forcing Michigan to really take their time bringing the ball up the pool. The turnovers generating a lot of easy transition opportunities for the Wolverines.
It really has been. I mean, there's too much going on right now to talk about all at once with the way the Wolverines have been playing defense. Brittany Prentice has had a great game. Called for a defensive foul, reaching a bit too far. It's an exclusionary foul, and there it is. St. Francis gets on the board, avoids the shutout, 13-1 Wolverines. They finally play with some attitude there. I mean, during a 6-on-5 advantage. Getting a shot off right away. Goes off Cordial's hand. Red flash goal, 13-1, halfway through the third quarter.
Their first goal comes almost 4 minutes into the second half. Just great work by Michigan for 2.5 quarters to not allow a goal. That is just outstanding defense.
As the ball now comes to Maddie Steer. She's a sophomore, and you can make a great case for her being the best player on this team. It's had a quiet day, largely because she's been on the bench for younger players. As Steer passes to senior Jimenez. Jimenez back to Steer. Steer back towards Delaney Cleveland. Junior. Steer finds her teammate in the center. Had to rush that one because of the expiring shot clock. Prentice could not wrestle the ball away from two red flash defenders. It will be St. Francis ball. Scored a goal at their last possession. Let's see what they can do here to kind of cut into that deficit right now. St. Francis with an open look. Quite a bit of ways away from the goal, but one of the first open shooting lanes they've seen in a while. Fire that one about a yard to the left of the goal. No threat of damage there. Cleveland finds Prentice. Prentice cutting in toward the right post. Moves out toward the wing more. Either can take a wide shot or pass it. Defender in her face. 14 to go. Plays it back towards Sodikoff, the sophomore. Sodikoff overshoots at the Prentice. Prentice has 5 seconds to get a shot off. She's in the corner, gives up on that possession, and wisely just rolls the ball into the very extreme corner. Try to force St. Francis to burn up more of their shot clock.
Yeah, Michigan going to just choose to set up their defense, which has been almost impenetrable by St. Francis all morning.
Great pass there by St. Francis. Gets it ahead of Brittany Prentice. Defensive foul called. Not going to force Prentice out of the pool, though. And that was much ado at nothing right there by St. Francis, passing the ball back and forth until it got intercepted by Cleveland. They're going to have to be either a bit more aggressive or creative there. We saw their one goal came when they kind of stopped thinking about it, fired right away.
There's a quick timeout now by Michigan. They'll get a couple subs in.
And I think it's fair to call this one a victory for the Wolverines right now. I can project with some confidence. Wolverines take this one. That'll put them to an outright lead in the CWPA standings. 1 to go against Hartwood today. But they're going to need a bit of help. Princeton is only halfway through their CWPA schedule, but they're undefeated, beat the Wolverines in sudden death overtime last weekend. Michigan is going to likely right now end up as the 2 seed as they don't have the head-to-head tiebreaker. But they're likely we're going to have to play Princeton in the championship round either way, but they're going to be rooting against Princeton for the remainder of the CWPA season. Doing what they can, though, right now, looking well on their way to close the CWPA season at 7-1. As Cordial played it forward to her teammates, ball kind of resting at the wing as Skylar Kyle passes it back up toward Maddie Steer. Steer, I believe, no, my bad, that was Brittany Prentice with the ball.
Another goal today.
adds her 4th goal of the game. So that's going to be still less than a third of Michigan's goals. But
14-1. Michigan scoring only 3 goals this period so far. Still a minute and a half left.
Impressive right there. Prentice has really had a breakthrough game as a freshman, showing what she can do. Skylar Kyle playing defense at the far right end of the pool. St. Francis not doing much, has to pass the ball around the edge of Michigan's defense. 5 to shoot. Ball stripped by Skylar Kyle. And they play it back to Cameron Cordial. St. Francis is quick to get back, though, this time, not going to allow Michigan to just lob the ball over their heads. Maddie O'Reilly with possession now. Finds Delaney Cleveland on the wing. Cleveland in towards Sodikoff. Sodikoff, the ball's batted away from her. Fights for the ball, lobs it over the keeper, hits the crossbar, no goal. 55 to play in the 3rd quarter. Michigan only winning this quarter 3-1.
Only.
Yeah, that's definitely a good place you want to be in if your worst quarter is a 3-1 victory. 42 seconds to play, rather. 20 on the shot clock for St. Francis. Let's see what they can do with that.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, I don't think they're quite looking as much for the scoring opportunities, really working the shot clock a lot more in this period.
And with 5 to go, St. Francis has to lob a bit of a desperation shot. That one is easily corralled by Cameron Cordial. 20 seconds to go. Wolverines will try to score here. Maddie O'Reilly along the wing to guess who? Brittany Prentice. 4 goals looking to make it 5. Prentice backboard O'Reilly. O'Reilly has 7 to shoot. Plays it back at the top of the offense to Delaney Cleveland. Gives it to Jimenez. No, Sodikoff has to foul. Easy save right there for Kate Wilkie. That's going to end the 3rd quarter. Wolverines up 14-1. So, Lucas, do you think they're going to catch the George Washington game for their most goals scored on the season?
I think with the pace that they've kind of settled into, just really slow, working it around, really trying to use up the entire shot clock, I don't think that they will. Also, in noting with that George Washington game was that George Washington did get 9 goals, so Michigan did probably continue to keep the pace going, matching that of George Washington. St. Francis with just 1 goal so far today. Michigan doesn't feel threatened by that margin at all.
Definitely something to consider.
Actually, a larger margin of victory right now than the George Washington game would have been.
Absolutely, and I think if the game were to end right now, that would go down as their largest margin of victory. They've won 3 games by second largest, I should say. They've won 3 games by 11, and they were able to defeat. They were able to defeat Iona 17-3. That was a 14-point victory. And I saw another 14-point victory, 15-point victory, I should say. Fresno Pacific on March 16th at the LMU Invite in Los Angeles. They defeated Fresno Pacific 18-3. So that would right now mean scoring 2 more than St. Francis does in this quarter in order to tie that record, 3 more to break it. I think they at least tie it.
I think they could do that. I mean, you have to take shots eventually. And so they're not just going to throw the ball in the corner for an entire period. They're going to take shots, and they should be able to get 2 or 3 to fall.
That would certainly be an impressive display, scoring your biggest margin of victory against a conference opponent. St. Francis 0-6 in the CWPA. They've got 1 more chance today to try to get their first win on the season. That's against 16th-ranked Hartwick, so I don't like their odds of doing that, but going to be a bit of a disappointing season for St. Francis, but they've won plenty of games outside of the conference. They're 12-14 as it is right now. Going to drop to 12-15 here in 8 minutes, but they do have quite a few games this season to take pride in. They are going to end up finishing a bit below 500, but the Wolverines, meanwhile, showing that they definitely are a top 10 team in the country. Rock won the 15th-ranked Princeton at the time. They shot up in the rankings following that one. I believe Wolverines 10, Princeton 11.
Yeah.
Michigan took down a road game in Bloomington, Indiana, against 13th-ranked Indiana at the time. They're going to play 16th-ranked Hartwick at home. So it looks like it'll be an impressive season for the Wolverines in the CWPA conference, the only conference they play in outside of the Big Ten, College Water Polo Association. The Wolverines look to improve to 28-8 on the season with this victory and to 6-1 in the CWPA. That would get up to 12 points. Victory against Hartwick would put them at 14, and they would just need Princeton to lose 2 of their remaining 4 in the CWPA to clinch that CWPA regular season title and have the first overall seed in the CWPA conference tournament. We're about to get underway here. St. Francis is lined up. Wolverine players getting into the pool. I see both Julia Sellers and Kathy Rogers in the pool right now, but Kathy Rogers is taking the widest route into the pool. I think she's going to be the one in the sprint. Gets a high five from teammate Caroline Anderson, and Kathy Rogers is to the far right. She is going to be lining up for this sprint. Wolverines 3-0 on the day in sprints, looking to make it 4-0. Any moment now, we're going to start this 4th and final quarter. Don't forget to tune in at 7 o'clock for the prime event going on in Ann Arbor, given that the spring game was canceled. Lucas, I know you were slated to call that one for WCBN.
I was looking forward to that.
Indeed, a bit of a downer that the Wolverines can't play their spring game, but all the more time to focus on water polo as they're off on their way. Wolverines win all 4 sprints of the game. 4-0, 2 to Julia Sellers, 2 to Kathy Rogers for winning those. Wolverines have not scored on any of their first possessions they've gotten from winning those sprints. Along with Caroline Anderson, she extends for it, beats the keeper to the near side. Michigan finally capitalizes and turns those 1 sprints into something. Wolverines have a 14-goal lead that ties their lead they had against Iona. That was a similar score, 17-3 victory in that one.
What a pass by Kim Johnson, going to the far post. On the money for Anderson, who knows what to do with it.
Anderson, one of 3 seniors on this team. She'll play her last game in Canham later today. You'll want to tune in for senior night for the Wolverine women's water polo. Anderson making her senior presence felt. Julia Sellers gets way ahead of the defense, throws one right into the hands of the keeper. She could have been a bit more creative with that shot. Could have tried to go for any of the 4 corners, right to the hands of the keeper, straight forward. But, I mean, this Wolverines offense is firing at all cylinders. It's so quick. The second they get a turnover, it goes back to Cordial. Cordial lobs over the heads of the entire St. Francis team. Sellers dumps it back to Steer. She's had a quiet night. The sophomore from Australia, but she's probably the Wolverines' best player. And she's really been helping younger players get their experience. Kim Johnson tries to get in the center. A bit of a short pass there by Sellers. The ball got wet and taken away from the Wolverines. Remains 15-1 with 6:50 to go in the game. St. Francis not doing much. Christina Elbeck, another senior, forcing the red flash backward. Laura Jimenez, the other senior, not in the pool right now, but we've called her name quite a bit today. St. Francis have been in that possession. They were at the mid-pool mark with almost no time left. Wisely throws it into the corner.
And St. Francis running out of opportunities to make this score more respectable. 15-1. It's not a good look for them as they almost end their year as well.
Worth noting that Princeton, Michigan's competition for the CWPA regular season title right now, only defeated St. Francis 15-7. I mean, that's still an impressive victory.
Only.
Hard to really say what the difference is between a 15 and a 14, 8 and a 14-point lead. Anyway, Wolverines now with their first exclusionary advantage of the game. Victor Becca senior, all 3 seniors on the board now.
I mean, St. Francis really unable to stop Michigan at full strength. Being a man down, there's no way that's easier. And now Michigan leading 16-1, putting on an absolute clinic this morning. So they wake up early, and at least they get rewarded with this kind of effort.
For sure, that's been a reward to all the Wolverine faithful who got up early for this one, 9:30 a.m. sprint. Ward Emanuel, he has had a good time watching one of his teams. 16-1 Wolverines lead. That's tied for the biggest lead of the season. Anderson gets the turnover, finds Sellers. Ball goes off her hand, but she's still able to gather it. Only to keep her to beat. 2 defenders coming in and fires it wide. That could have given the Wolverines their largest lead of the year. Not going to happen right now, though. 5:30 still to go in this fourth quarter. They could still reach their season-high goal total of 20-9 victory achieved against George Washington. Wolverines will spend a lot of time watching Princeton today. They have a busy slate this weekend. They're going to play George Washington at 11 a.m. today. That's in 35 minutes. Half an hour after Michigan's final game of the day. Princeton will also be playing some CWPA action as they play Brown. Wolverines will be pulling hard for Brown in that one. The remainder of their schedule goes tomorrow on Sunday the 15th. They'll play Harvard and Bucknell, and then we'll know who the CWPA regular season champs are. During this timeout, we're seeing Cameron Cordial warm up the third-string keeper and freshman, youngest keeper on the roster, Sarah Campbell, a native of Naperville, Illinois.
So all three goalies getting some action this morning. Comfortable enough lead to do that.
And even the question might be, will Sarah Campbell get an opportunity for a save?
Yeah.
The way her defense is played. We don't have any live stats.
Sarah Campbell she's played in 7 games, and she's made 9 saves and allowed 9 goals in those appearances.
So 500 save percentage, not great, but she's a freshman. Still definitely developing as a player, and she's going to get an opportunity to do so. She might not see a shot for the last 5.5 to play in this game. The red flash, re-enter the pool. Ready to take possession. Cordial comes out of the water. She allowed 1 goal. Not a whole lot of shots, but ultimately that was a pretty good save percentage, maybe about 200. And she had she got an assist as a keeper. She had some fantastic passes to her teammates. St. Francis plays the ball back, and that was a good shot. Hard to blame Campbell on that one. Maybe you could have positioned yourself better, but ultimately a really good long shot from St. Francis's Marielena Polo. I hope I got that kind of close to being right. The Greek freshman. She's really been the focal point of their offense.
Yeah, she's definitely been their best player this morning.
Number 19 has really had the possession shot ball in nearly every offensive possession for the Red Flash. Wolverines have work to do if they want to get their biggest win of the season. Skylar Pyle finds him in as a senior. Back to Cleveland, the junior. Cleveland surveys, passes it back for Pyle, the freshman. That's the triple coverage, that pass. Ball is taken away from Christina Ovak. 16-2, Wolverines lead, 4.5 to play. Ball put in toward the center, one-on-one defense before the keeper. A good turning move there by Annie Aghakaninian. She's used that move before to some success. Is able to draw a defensive foul, not an exclusionary foul though. Finds her teammate Kelly Furr at an Erie, PA. In-state talent there for the St. Francis Red Flash. Back toward Furr, 3 seconds to go. Errant pass back toward Stella Tepolu. Easily picked off by Cleveland. Gets the ball to Prentice. Prentice put at the 5. Put at her 5th goal instead. Finds teammate Skylar Pyle. Not sure how that one went in. There was not much room to get it between the keeper. That skips right in front of the keeper's face and bounces up for a goal. That was an impressive one. Wolverines have 17-2 now. Tied for their biggest lead of the season. 4 to play. Lucas, are you sure how? Do you think? I don't know. Were you able to tell how that one went in?
Just enough spin on it off the water, I guess. It bounced in underneath her arm. Just a strange bounce for sure.
Not sure what St. Francis is doing there. Immediately dumped the ball right toward Michigan's Rachel Sodikoff. Must have not seen that pass going that way. Offensive foul, short possession for the Wolverines. St. Francis will have a transition opportunity. 3v2, but Michigan's winners are a bit quicker, and now turn that to a 4v3 in favor of the Wolverines. Ball back toward maybe the 10-meter line. Pass back toward Annie Aghakaninian. Jimenez played defense a bit too aggressively, left to give the defender some space. Back towards CWPA. CWPA fires. Great save there by Maddie Johnson, Sarah Campbell, the freshman goalkeeper. She stays at 500 on the year. Some foul occurred. The ball will remain with St. Francis. It was going to be an exclusionary foul. That's going to erase Campbell's save. And St. Francis will have a golden opportunity to make this a 3-goal game. They have not looked good on their 6-on-5 advantages, though. That ball got into CWPA. However, it was Brittany Prentice who's been all over the pool today. Gets her hand on the shot, makes an easy save for Campbell, who gets her first of the game.
And one last set of substitutions for Michigan.
Beck and Prentice coming out, the senior and the freshman. In comes younger sister of Heidi Rittner, Emily Rittner. Sophomore and freshman, those siblings are. And Maddie O'Reilly, I believe, is the 6th Wolverine to join the pool. Wolverine swimmer, I should add. The 7th, of course, being Sarah Campbell. 2:39 to play. Wolverines can get their largest lead of the season with the goal.
As the Wolverines will look to wind this one down, about 2:40 left in the game. Just a couple more possessions before they wrap up a resounding win.
Very impressive game by the Wolverines. Ball play toward Jimenez. She gets the ball toward Emily Rittner. She and her older sister Heidi, both from Newport Beach, California, as most of this team is from California. Offensive foul committed. It's going to be St. Francis ball.
St. Francis, a couple more opportunities to score a goal.
Not really posing much of a threat right now. They're marching backward.
Probably just
at midcourt right now.
Probably about 2 more possessions for each team.
As a pass, kind of desperation pass at the end of the game, is thrown toward Skylar Pyle. Pyle takes it, gets it back toward Rachel Sodakoff. Sodakoff to Maddie O'Reilly at the wing. Not a great wide-angle shot right now. Is able to find teammate Laura Jimenez, who can't quite wrestle for the ball. 1:43 to play. It's going to be Kate Wilkie, the keeper out of Burbank, California, with the ball for St. Francis, is surveying, looking for a teammate. Gets it to Metzli Enriquez, guarded by fellow number 13, Laura Jimenez. Jimenez back toward a teammate guarded by Emily Rittner. The offensive foul. The ball is played toward Delaney Cleveland. 1:15 to go. There should be 2 more possessions for the Wolverines to try to get their 16-goal lead. Rittner plays it forward to Maddie O'Reilly. She's got a defender on her back and a keeper to beat. Wonderful shot, back corner to Cage. That makes it 18-2. If this score holds, it will be the Wolverines' largest margin of victory on the year.
Yeah, and Maddie O'Reilly, she has a cannon of an arm, just too quick to react for Kate Wilkie, and that should just about wrap things up for Michigan. You don't expect them to they don't need to take a shot on their last possession.
Indeed, and when you have a player like O'Reilly, and you leave her so much open space, she's going to be able to elevate out of the water and get more upper body strength into that shot, not to mention make it ricochet off the water quicker should she choose to skip it. You really can't let a good goal scorer like her in that much open space. 15 to go on the shot clock. St. Francis works it in toward the center. That ball is batted away by Rachel Sodakoff, corralled by Laura Jimenez, the only senior left in the pool. 35 to play. There will be a shot clock. We'll see what the Wolverines do with it. Campbell passes it towards Skylar Pyle. Pyle finds Cleveland. Cleveland toward O'Reilly. O'Reilly up toward Cleveland. Finds Laura Jimenez. Gets it in toward the wing. Michigan not. There was a penalty, so Michigan will no longer have a shot clock. They might not take a shot. They pass it around the perimeter of the St. Francis defense. Wonder what they'll do here. Emily Rittner gets her first goal of the game. With 10 seconds left to take a wide shot from the wing, puts it into the cage. 19-2. Wolverines will not quite reach 20 for their most goals of the season, but they will set the record by 2 for largest margin of victory. as they lead 19-2.
It's a dominant all-around effort by Michigan today. Can't say enough about their morning performance. See if I can carry into tonight.
Great performance on their part. That's going to end the game. Really, not much more you could ask for from the Wolverines. Really impressive game. They've intimidated Hartwick, I believe, a bit successfully. They're going to play Hartwick at 7 to wrap up what might become a 7-1 season record in the CWPA. They went undefeated last year, but if we're going to do a bit of college water polo bracketology to end the broadcast, I think the Wolverines are in good position if they only lose one more game for the rest of the season, especially if that one more loss is to Princeton. I think they'll still make the tournament as an at-large team. NCAA Water Polo Championships being in Los Angeles this year. They come back to Canham Natatorium in, I think, 2020, maybe 2022. But don't forget to join us here in Canham Natatorium, the site of the 2022 NCAA Championships for Michigan's Water Polo Senior Night, as we say goodbye to seniors Laura Jimenez, Christina Obeck, and Caroline Anderson, as the Wolverines will play their final game of the regular season and look to do more damage in the conference tournament and hopefully the NCAA tournament. That'll do it for us. Lucas, any closing thoughts on this game?
What you wanted to see out of Michigan came in, take care of business, and look forward to tonight where they get tougher competition to see if they can keep the level of play at a high level.
The 16th ranked Hartwick, the only team standing in the way of the 10th ranked Wolverines in a 7-1 CWPA season. Wolverines advanced to 28-8 on the year, looking to go 29-8 after this one. That will do it for us. We wish you, as always, a good day and a go blue.